Welcome to Bringing Back the Wild. In each episode, Mike Arnold explores how science, tradition, and hands-on conservation come together to protect the wild places and wildlife we care about. Your host, Mike Arnold, is a professor of genetics, a lifelong hunter, and a conservation biologist. As a genetics professor who spends as much time in the woods as he does in the lab, Mike studies wildlife, has a passion for hunting, and cares deeply about conservation. On this podcast, Mike dives into the science and stories behind bringing wildlife species back and keeping wild places wild. Sponsors of Bringing Back the Wild are Dallas Safari Club, conserving wildlife, engaging the public, and ensuring the future. Lifeform Taxidermy, guardian of the hunter's dreams. Zambezi Delta Safaris, protecting wildlife, empowering communities, defining adventure. Royal Outfitters UK, tradition in the field and excellence in the hunt. Choctaw Hunting Lodge, native land, exceptional wildlife, and unforgettable hunts. Johann Fanzoj, 8 generations, one relentless pursuit of perfection in building firearms. Now, here's your host, Mike Arnold.
Welcome to Bringing Back the Wild, where we discuss conservation, hunting, shooting. Today, we have a very special guest, Daniela Fanzoj from Johann Fanzoj Company. Daniela, welcome. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
I would like to start by asking you, do you hunt? And if so, how did you begin your hunting career?
I don't know if you know that we are here at the foot of a massive mountain range in southern Austria, where gunmaking goes back 500 years. My family has been here for about 300 years, and we're surrounded by mountains with animals and hunting, with wars raging forth and back, with streams coming down the mountains and providing for an infrastructure that the Habsburg monarchy determined it would be the center of gunmaking for the whole empire. So yes, I'm almost in the mountains here, and my whole life I'm surrounded by hunters, obviously. My father was seldom at home. He was either working or hunting, and that's about my life story, how it started. I myself would consider myself a moderate hunter. I'm an outdoor person. I go every time to the forest or on a hike to find peace. And I do love hunting. And my part here in our company is to philosophically, I would say, reflect on what we're doing constantly. So this topic is very much on my mind, yes.
So what was your first game animal?
I think it was a wild boar in Croatia.
Do you also in the mountains hunt chamois, those sorts of species?
Yes, here we have a forest hunt, which is quite difficult. We do have roe deer in our own hunting area. We are here very close to the Slovenian border. My family owns a hunting area in the mountains. And there we have chamois. Yes, chamois, alpine chamois, some stags, and mainly roe deer.
Let's transition a little bit and tell us about your company. When did it start? What was the goal when it was started? You said that area was determined to be or was designated as the center of gun making for that empire. But how did you guys get started and when?
Yeah, that's a good question. So gunmaking goes back about 500 years here, and supposedly the monarch drew from all the crown lands capable gunsmiths together in this area in the 1600s, and it seems that my ancestors were among them somehow. And then they founded a gun industry here in Ferlach, Austria. And we had a vivid history with ups and downs. And what is important here, I think, to remark is that industrialization, as it took place starting from Great Britain, completely passed us. People here did not pick up on it. They would never let themselves be forced in this industrial production mode. And in fact, there are some very funny stories that, I'd say, people from administrators from Vienna always came down to discipline us here But people here were headstrong, naughty, and unruly. And they were into music, into singing, into drinking. And we always held on to our craftsmanship techniques.
Okay.
We never developed here any industrial structures. That was the end of it. And now in the 21st century, this turned out to be an advantage because we have preserved here a kind of craftsmanship that is lost in other places of the world.
Why did the king of the Habsburgs designate that area for gun making?
Gun making required that the whole town or the whole region was geared towards this production. We had water flowing from the mountains, we had timber, we had iron ore.
Okay.
And we were nestled in a protected area, and I think this was the reason. And so over the centuries, after the Napoleonic Wars, gun making in the Habsburg Empire moved away from Ferlach. And so we had a bit of a slump here for about 80 years. And then we turned to the making of high-end hunting rifles. And what is very special in our town is that this cottage industry, I think you call it, is very much alive nowadays. This is why we are on the list of UNESCO cultural heritage. The knowledge here was always passed on from father to son. So it's a generational bond here. And we are supposed to be invaluable to preserve cultural heritage in our town here for the craft.
Now, you guys started in 1790.
Yes.
Now, what were you making? What were you manufacturing in 1790? What kind of firearms?
Pistolets and everything that the army needed. So our real history started actually in the 19th century when we turned into firearm making, hunting firearms. When we emerged as a single company. And then we started to work for the emperor for hunting rifles. So before it was more in the industry in Ferlach, but then we started to have our own identity in the 19th century. And this was when Ferlach was in a real slump. And then Vienna helped Ferlach by integrating here some institutions that are still alive today. So we have a state-proof house that is bordering our property here. So every baby that was born in our house here was used to, boom, getting double rifles, whatever is directly bordering our wall here. And then we have a school of gun making in Ferlach. I think it's the best gun making school in the world. And it offers an engineering program. It offers engraving. It offers goldsmithing. So the culture here is still alive. And as I said, I think we are one of the last places here where this skill set is preserved. And what I want to point out, what UNESCO actually put on the list is the skill set that was passed down from generation to generation that poses a direct link to human civilization. This is worth protecting. It's the skill set that is involved, the artistic skills involved in building a gun and using the gun as a canvas for all kinds of ancient craftsmanships.
I'm not sure our listeners are going to understand that we're really talking about handwork. We're really talking about hand-built firearms. This is an artistic, elegant way that you guys are producing these products. I mean, it's amazing to think about that. And you only turn out a few firearms each year, and they are of exquisite quality. With that, let me ask you the question. Did you make a decision in the 19th century as a company to only produce a few hunting rifles each year, or is that a recent decision?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I would say in the 19th century, nobody here was really in control of anything. We were part of this industry here, and we were very much subject to the decisions of the sovereign. And I can only talk for ourselves for when I started to perceive what was going on. And if you allow me, I would just tell you in short what my history is here. So I was obviously growing up in this family. And I went first to art school, art and music school. And then I studied a business in Vienna. And then I went to the United States and to Russia to study. And then my father got sick. My father is a hazarder, lived life to the fullest. I have very much respect for him. he taught us mainly to do it and then to fall and to get up again. Look, titanium, he has lost an eye, he had cancer, he had everything you could possibly imagine. And so when I completed my studies, I went to Croatia to work, and then my father got very sick, and all at once I found myself at the first Safari Club International show in Reno, Nevada, 1998. So there I was, completely perplexed. And from that on, I felt the responsibility on my shoulders. And I looked at what has been done here and where we are heading. And then I have a mentality, people describe me like a Cape Buffalo. I have something in my head and then I start running without thinking. And this is what I did for about 5 or 10 years, to understand, to reflect where we are as a company. And I just wanted to preserve what is and to bring it forward. And then fortunately, my brother joined us. He's younger than I, and he went to gunmaking school. He's also a technical engineer, and he has a business degree. And so today, I think in the last 15 years, we have been driving a strategy, an extreme niche strategy. And I think we have become something like the pinnacle of artistic craftsmanship in the world. So we were focusing on what we are good at. This is work with hands, with a lot of creativity. And we consider ourselves the bridge builders between tradition and modern times. So we make very functional, highly aesthetic, sophisticated products. We went into material technologies. We do surface coatings. We work with carbon, with titanium. And on the other side, we started with a line of products called the Majesty of Nature, where we use all our artistic abilities that are left in this town, all the resources. We have beautiful engravers here, very talented people, goldsmiths. We are still able to do multi-barrel rifles and shotguns. So we are basically we come from prototyping everything. So we have this ability to design, prototype, engineer, and build basically everything. And so we started with this Majesty of Nature line, where we portray nature in all its beauty, and wildlife, of course, in all its beauty, in its cruelty, and in its fragility, to point out how precious everything is around us. And we are able to immortalize this in steel and wood. So this is how we started about 20 years ago. So I think we were pioneers in going into depth in those, in this duality that surrounds us, in this black and white hunter-prey relationships. So we did projects with horses, black and white. We did dragons, we did panther, we did leopards. And we always tried to incorporate a whole story from case to accessories and tell a story on a rifle. And then after some time, I personally had this vision that we should portray and tell something meaningful in terms of conservation. And then we started. My vision was to leverage our art into telling something meaningful that is worth putting your finger on and put attention to in this world. For example, we did a beautiful project about the snow leopard, which the message in the end is hunting is conservation. And if the leopard thrives, then the whole planet will be able to live. And the snow leopard needs the ungulates to feed on. So we must have hunting so they can thrive there. And we put a price tag on them. And so this is what we try to incorporate into our work nowadays, to tell meaningful stories and immortalize it in steel and wood on our items.
That is so wonderful. And it's a wonderful message that so many of us are trying to get out there. Like you said, if the game is valuable, it will remain because the locals will protect it. Let me ask a pragmatic or a logistics question. How many people work within your company?
So we are a manufacturer. This means that we do everything in-house. We made this decision about 15 years ago in the midst of a crisis, 2008. I was very lucky then. I came back from Russia and I had a huge order from somebody. And so we started to build our second building on the property. and put in the best machinery you can get, and decided that we will attempt an in-house production because the political environment in Europe is more and more towards trying to prevent you from doing things. So we figured our only chance is to make a big step forward and invest so we can do everything in-house eventually. And this is what we have been pursuing. And today we have an incredibly modern facility. And we have, right now, we are 11 people, and we try to work with locals mostly because it enables a beautiful, trusting work atmosphere. So we can do everything here. So our engravers, we have about 7 engravers that work for us because sometimes there is hundreds of hours involved. And so it's sometimes the bigger projects, they require a step-by-step approach. So we sit here in little teams with the stock maker and the engraver when we test something, when we try something. So it's a trial error kind of thing. And it's just wonderfully creative and very trusting. It's like a Swiss watch, the mechanism when every piece is like this. You don't outsource, but you do everything in-house. About 7 engravers.
Okay. And where do you source your raw materials from, like stocks?
Yes, we use solely a Circassian walnut wood from the roots. And this is the densest, most beautiful wood in the world. It comes from trees that are hundreds of years old. It's a very precious resource. And this trade has been under control of the Turkish people for many decades. They know how to source it, and they go to pretty dangerous areas now, and they know how to source it, and they know how to cut it, because it's vital how you cut it correctly. Otherwise, it breaks, it will twist and break. And it's actually a pretty funny procedure to somebody who has never seen that. Those people, they used to come with their cars, and then it depends on the relationship you have with them, who they come to first. And then they open the trunk, and then like a bazaar, we stand outside and we discuss and we put water on and we check, and then starts the negotiation process. So this is quite traditional still.
Really? So they still do that? They still drive in?
Those people drive for days. Yes. And we have one supplier who we trust in, and he's our friend. It's the beauty in this industry, by the way. We have these kind of relationships, works or clients or friends or suppliers all over the world.
And so what about your clients? Is there a demographic? They're mostly from the US or they're mostly from Russia?
Our production is very small. We only do 20 to 24 products a year. And those big theme projects, as we call them, is only possible 1, maximum 2. And we have clients from all over the world. They are mostly individuals. However, in the past years, we have learned also to work with institutions on meaningful conservation projects. And it depends. When there's a political crisis or there's a slump here or there, then it shifts. So we have people from Europe, obviously, and we have people from Asia. Russia used to be a big market. We have Kazakhstan. I've been traveling a lot. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. We have Malaysia. We have the Far East now. We have the Arab countries. It requires a lot of discretion here, but we're working in the Middle East, yes. And now more and more in the United States, because I think that with this philosophy and this mission I'm on here of preserving what is here, the skill set, I think it will fall on a very fertile ground. People are generous and they understand the agenda.
Many do, and also appreciate the heritage, the cultural heritage, like you said, passing it down from, you said father to son, but obviously father to daughter. And let me ask you something specifically about you and your input. I am guessing with your artistic training, you have a lot to say when they're designing the artistry, the engraving, whatever it happens to be on the product. Is that something that you do in particular? You say, look, this design would be beautiful on here?
I've become mellow over the years with my ego. Let's put it that way. No, seriously, I think it is a joint effort, and we are in times now that require sharing, and everything we do here smashed always by the talent of the people we work with. And the individual thinking and the creativity and the oddity sometimes when we sit down here, because those are pretty individual people here. It's young people that want to train as gun makers. They do not serve the cliche anymore. They are not workers. They have something. They have a passion in them. And it's beautiful to see how this unfolds. And when you let them, and everybody contributes something, and the end result is there's about 16 people working on something. And then you never know what comes out.
Yeah.
I would say my role is sometimes I have a very strong vision. I'm curating. Everybody has a talent. And our guys here, they're able to sculpt into full metal in a 3-dimensional way. They're technically so talented. My brother is a technical mind through. And the clients give their input. I think what is enjoyable here, what we enjoy most is pulling somebody into the story. This is an opportunity, I would say, to walk some of the paths together. This is what I call it. When you engage with us, you're inevitably drawn into this world, and then we walk some of the paths together. We are executing somebody's memories or dreams or wishes. It's only a firearm, and yet it is much more.
Yeah, it's a work of art. Let me ask a question about the demographics of your workers. You mentioned that you have young people there who are passionate. Do you have an age range where you have people who have been in the industry, let's say engraving for, 30 years, and they're training others? How does that work?
Yeah, we have the school nearby. It's 130 meters from where I sit. Due to my brother being there, and my son is also there, so we have an active cooperation. So we have teachers consulting with us, working with us. And the latest plan is to open a gunmaking academy as a after-school program within our company, where we offer to the best of the best some training that goes beyond the school. Because nowadays you don't learn too much practical work anymore. So this is part of my personal mission to have it go on.
And do you have people of different ages within your company?
We have a very young team. The shifting from an old team to a young team and passing down from my father. Our father is 93 years old now. So it was a transition period, which was not easy when you come in there and try to implement new ideas. But now we have a very young team, in fact. So right now we always take trainees in, and then our team decides if they are eligible and if they fit, if they just match our philosophy, and before we employ somebody new. So we have people here, they start the gunmaking school in Ferlach, takes people from 14 years. So after 8 years of elementary education, you have to go to a higher school to complete your 9th year. And here in Ferlach, we have a program that enables different levels of education. You can be an apprentice and go to school, or you can become a gunmaker in a 4-year program, or you have a 5-year program and you end up a technical gun engineer. And then you can have an after-school program, hopefully in the future within our company, that would give you training. We are here the industry standard, I would say. We've become that.
And so are the students learning in the school how to engrave and that sort of thing?
Yes. They have a normal high school degree, which is in Austria and Europe a little bit different, but the emphasis is workshop hours. So they have, I don't know the curriculum. I think they have about 10 hours of workshop in the week.
Yeah.
So they learn to engrave. They learn different techniques. Of course, they do not have time to deepen into this sphere. And as an engraver, when you do hand engraving, you need at least 5 years before you can produce something of value to a company. So this is the crux also. When you start training somebody until he can, or she, no, we don't have any she's, until he can contribute, it takes a while.
You've told us a little bit about your vision for the company. Where would you like to be in 5 years?
Me personally, or the company, or both? Which is your question?
Both. The company, let's start with the company and you personally.
The company is very clear. The only way is up. I think what is like a red thread here is the consistent thriving for improvement. This is in our genes, striving for something. So we want to be the best. This is what we're trying to, and to bring it on to a next generation, which involves in this turmoil of turbulences that are going on all around the world. We are under embargoes. We are fighting against our own government, the bureaucracy. So we just have to be better and more precise and better in every respect, from the infrastructure to the precision of gun making. And so the only way is up. What personally I would emphasize, what I put the emphasis on is in the future is from the artistic way to further go beyond decoration, but emphasize on meaning. So everything we do, because it's so scarce, should have a deeper meaning. Everything when we portray something, when we do a theme project, I would like to collaborate with people, clients that understand the vision, with institutions, with governments, with hunting clubs. So we help bring attention to something that's going on in the wildlife environment, to protect the diversity, to protect hunting, to bring the message across by means of art, which I think is easier to achieve sometimes than through pictures of actually hunting something, that hunting is protection, that hunting is conservation, that as long as hunt and wildlife exists, also gun making must exist in the traditional way as we understand it, 100% done by hand. We are the antipode to digitalization here, which is in a wider perspective. To me personally, this is an agenda mission that I'm on and that I would like to get out into the world. This is the cultural heritage of humankind that we are representing here in Ferlach, to work with hands, eyes, mind in concert and produce something beautiful. That this is very important to exist along with everything we all stand for.
I applaud what you're doing. I love the whole philosophy that you have on this, and I'm just so excited. I'm excited by the fact that, as you say, you have a young faculty, basically. As a professor, I would say it that way, young colleagues who are taking this mission and furthering it. I just love that. I really am so excited to speak with you today about this.
One moment.
Yes, please.
This is my perspective also. When you talk to a man in our infrastructure, you get a very hands-on description, what is being done here, what's been achieved, what's on the agenda in the future. So I think that my brother and myself, we perfectly match each other.
The thing about it is that the vision that you have does take technical skills too. But that's the artistry part of this, I know, is what captures people's minds as well. The technical skills behind it are something that may not actually even be seen, but are understood by many of us. You can't do what you've described without the technical skills as well. I agree.
Technical skills is very much in the foreground in this company here. We were just forced to retreat into a niche where nobody can follow. And this involves also looking into long range, looking into new materials. So I think we have been pioneering this in the luxury segment as well. And we are very lucky that we have a few ambassadors that hunt worldwide with our items. So that we have a reputation, we've earned a reputation by trial and error, the meticulous way over the past 15 years, that our products are very performance-oriented. Yeah.
Beautiful and functional.
That's very important, I think.
Yes.
It is a rifle it is a weapon after all.
Yes, and it's a tool that we use, but still a beautiful one from you guys. Daniela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If this conversation meant something to you, please follow Bringing Back the Wild so you don't miss future episodes. Consider leaving a rating or sharing the podcast with someone who cares about wildlife and conservation. You can also visit MikeArnoldOutdoors.com for stories from the field, conservation-driven articles, and information about my books. I'm Mike Arnold. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.